Hello, I'm David, and it's Wednesday and time for today's Daily Bread. Sometimes one of the best things that we can receive is a reminder of something. Paul talked about that in Philippians 3:1, where he said, to write the same thing to you is not troublesome for me, and it's safe for you. Peter said that in 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 12. I intend always to remind you of these qualities, having just talked about what we refer to as the Christian virtues there. You might remember that when Paul came to Athens, this is in Acts 17, that those of Athens and foreigners who resided there wanted nothing but to tell and hear something new. Now, that was not complimentary of them, although Paul used it to his advantage to be able to preach Christ because they had never heard that before, and particularly about the resurrection. Now, we need to be reminded of some things. And I say all of that because what I'm about to say are things that we've talked about before in these Daily Bread videos, David and Michael and myself. And I want to say it again because this has been going on for a very long time. And we're frustrated with it. You hear people saying things like, I'm just at my wit's end. I'm tired of it. I'm weary of this whole thing. I'm frustrated. And that's all very true, and we're all feeling those same kinds of things. And it's in light of that, though, I think that it's important for us to be reminded of the Christian qualities and traits of patience and endurance. Now, these are words that, there are actually two words that I'm thinking of that are found in the New Testament, and they're translated almost interchangeably. Patience, endurance, long-suffering, forbearance, all of these kinds of words are used. Perseverance is another one. We find it in, for instance, the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22. We find it in those traits in Colossians 3, where Paul tells us to put off some things, but then to put on some other things. These qualities, Peter talks about it as one of the virtues of 2 Peter chapter 1. And we have actually two different words that are being used in these verses. Now, in Colossians 1, those two words are used together. This is Colossians chapter 1 and verse 11. May you be strengthened with all power according to His glorious might for all endurance and patience. There the two words are brought together. Now, one of those words apparently has behind it the idea of someone who has the power and the ability to avenge himself, that is, to change the circumstance or situation, but refrains from it. The other one is when we're in a particular situation or circumstance where we are powerless to do anything about it. And so Paul brings those two words together. Both of them are necessary for the Christian, Colossians 1 and verse 11. It's interesting there, though, that he says, may you be strengthened with all power according to His glorious might. This is the power of God at work within us. We may be thinking, I'm at my wit's end. And we may very well be at our wit's end. And it's time for us not to rely on our own power and ability to deal with all of this ongoing situation. It's time for us to rely on the power and the might of God. God, I can't do this. I have to have your power and your strength. I have to have your endurance and your might to be able to persevere and to suffer long. We need to be reminded of that. And the longer this goes on, the more we need to be reminded of it. So may we, as followers of Jesus Christ, and ones who are given access to the power of God to be at work in our lives, may we call upon Him and upon it that we might be patient, that we might endure, that we might persevere, that we might be willing to suffer long. Not what we want, but it's what we need. So let's do that.